I'm happy to show that we have lots of information here for our class. We are focused on the world of Bitcoin and blockchain and cryptocurrencies. And earlier this week, I went through a lot of this information. And if you click on here, you can see there's another file. We went through and we presented this file, which is a presentation by experts. A few experts may pop in and join our class sometimes, like today. Saikiran, would you like to introduce yourself? And also Gord and John Pang, a couple of other people may pop in today too. But Saikiran, I see that you're here. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Can you hear me first up?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. Right. My name is Sai Kiran. You guys can call me Sai. It's very kind of Professor Sean to actually call me an expert. I I would like to offer comments wherever I can. As such, I have worked for 5 years in a manufacturing setup in an organization that's famous world over for power and automation. It goes by the name ABB. Post which I did an executive MBA program in an institute in India where Professor Sean was also there taking a course for us on East Asian management. So yeah, I'm happy to be here, and with the time I have here for whatever duration I'm present in the class, I would be more than happy to make meaningful contributions. So looking forward to it.
Great. So one of the things I am trying to focus on, let me just go back and show you these details. This idea of you guys developing, where is it here? This idea, let me make sure I can show this on my screen. So this concept of our class is talking about current topics in management. And so one of the most important things is for you to know how to manage yourself. And we start by talking about most students and most people in the world just look at what is directly in front of them and they don't realize the big picture. And so you should definitely realize the big picture. Saikiran, although he was a student before in one of my classes, and he talks about working with a small company. It's one of the world's biggest, most famous companies in the world he was an executive with. And in my class, he did a very good type of consulting report advising Samsung on what were the technical details they should develop to continue having a competitive edge, something like that. And so today, we're talking about Bitcoin, but we're also talking about you students, and how you manage yourself. We're going to have 2 groups or 4 students are going to present today. And while we do this, I want to just point out a few things. I do not want anyone to just do classwork and present a paper for this class. This class is not important for your life. You should be thinking about anything you're doing, how it matches your dreams and how it can help you achieve your goals. And so whatever your goals are in the future, start rising in those stairs, start getting connections, start building activities like a term paper so that that can help you. And start interacting with potential employers that you want to work with. Provide them with consulting ideas, reports, management reports. And if you also realize the famous company like Saikiran worked with, ABB or Google or Ford, those trillion-dollar companies are so rich and powerful that some people hate them. And so they regularly give money back to students. You could get paid through those grants for doing these type of class projects, and you're making papers. You should finish and have quite a lot of research on your topic to start presenting next week or today. And you definitely have to present before the end of week 7. Sign up for that. And then you can present it to the company and present it to a journal, publish it, and put it in your CV. Hopefully you guys can talk about how Sai and his classmates might be doing something like that. And then don't just wait in line for a job. You want a good job? Make it yourself. Don't be a sheep. Don't follow what other people do. Don't wait until you graduate. Start today and find out what you like. Find out what is something similar the company you likes, what is of mutual benefit, and research and develop that so that you can help the manager or the director or somebody like Sai in the company do their job. If you help them, they will help you. That's the way the world works. And so an example is, let me just go through. This is a PPT from one of Sai's classmates that was talking about how people around the world manage themselves and purchase decisions in China, Japan, and Korea. And the student found a good journal article and used this to replicate. So from next week or week 7, you should be showing the class what is the journal article you love that you think will help your future. And you can copy that same style and format and make your own paper in the professional style. Obviously, you need to customize it for the company that you like. And then you can find another article and reference that, and another article, you can reference it, and Facebook or blogs or less reliable information that might be sexier or more attractive, you can put that in, and you can make a paper like this, page 1, 2, 3, 4. You see that until the references. And so this is what everybody should do in order to manage your own time to get your best investment. So with that said, I want to come back and make sure everybody sees these details. I just have, it looks like there's several people in the waiting room. Hua, make sure that you let people in that are in the waiting room. And Emma and Lance, I believe you guys are going to be first to present. I have your presentations up here. But if you want to get ready, you want to tell me who is going to need the screen share?
Yes, it's me. I will share my screen.
In Emma? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Emma, you are co-host. And who else is going to be presenting today? Was it Laura or?
I'm with Emma. I'm presenting with Emma.
So we are with Laura. We are presenting the last course, at the end of the last course.
Okay, so you don't want to present anything else today? Okay.
No, we are already passed, so it's okay.
Okay, let me go back and just remind you of something while we're getting ready. In our course, you know that you should be signing up just like these students did and present your material, especially for week 7. And there's several people that have done that. And if we've run out of time, people are going to be presenting in week 6. Sign up. But I also want to show you this. Some of our students. Vincent, I love you. I'm married. It's not that kind of love. I love you because you're an awesome part of our class, just like Sai. But while you were first to present, just like Sai was one of the first students in his, he was saying his small, simple little university, but it's, I think, the 26th best business school in the world. He was the first one talking to me. You guys, when you present, don't forget to manage yourself. Why are you presenting? You're presenting hopefully to gain valuable experience. But I know as young students, maybe you don't think that far, and you're usually just thinking about your class grade. Details on the screen, or do the students want to take over? Emma and Elodie?
Yes. You want to share the PPT? Or I can do this?
You are the boss. You can tell me to shut up or go to heck or whatever you want. I'll listen to you, especially because you guys pay my bills.
Okay. So we will speak about Bitcoin causes a shortage of graphic cards. If you're interested in cryptocurrencies, you have probably heard about their increase and the consequences of this. Since October, the price of Bitcoin and Ether have been rising sharply in value, starting at under 10,000 euro in September. Bitcoin trade at over 15,000 euro in late November. Then 20,000 euro on December 25, before peaking on January 3 at over 27,000 euro. With an already difficult situation having affected the production chains, it's happening in demand on massive purchase of stock by robots. In this sector, it's added to the soaring price of the cryptocurrencies. As a result, cryptocurrencies miners have started to buy graphic cards in huge quantities, which is causing a shortage. In this presentation, we will try to explain what is cryptocurrencies, how to create cryptocurrencies, and what the relationship with the graphic card, what the problem does it cause, and how to solve them. So what is cryptocurrencies? Let's start with a little history. The concept of cryptocurrencies is a concept that exists long before the creation of Bitcoin. The company DigiCash, founded in 1989 by David Chaum, was founded with the goal of creating the first virtual currency used worldwide. But DigiCash failed to achieve mass adoption of its cryptocurrencies. The company was forced to declare bankruptcy. Yes, in 1998. In 2008, the subprime crisis took place. I think everyone knows what is it, but as a reminder, the subprime crisis is a major financial crisis that hit the world, from developed countries to those classified as third world. Several simultaneous events lead to a sudden failure of the large part of the global financial system. The population, they'll then lose a large part of the confidence it had in the financial institution. It's very important for understand this. Bitcoin took root on October 31, 2008, when a man named Satoshi Nakamoto unveiled a document called the White Paper, in which he explained how Bitcoin works. The identity of Satoshi Nakamoto is still unknown, but this is just the name used to sign the documents. And then in May 22, the first Bitcoin transaction took place. The mining of Bitcoin is bits is linear information unit plus coin is Bitcoin. So what is Satoshi Nakamoto? Nowadays, his identity is still unknown. He affirmed on his profile to be a Japanese born on April 5, 1975. However, there is no person of this name. So it's not even known if it's a single person or a group of people, we don't know. According to several studies, he would own nearly 1 million Bitcoin acquired by mining 20,000 of the first block on the Bitcoin blockchains. As of December 2017, with the value of Bitcoin close to $20,000, his potential wealth was estimated at 19 billion, so the 44th largest fortune in the world. So what is the cryptocurrency? Cryptocurrencies, it's 100% virtual currencies. The most famous is Bitcoin, of course, but nowadays there are more than 1,500 of them. The principle of the cryptocurrency is that it's not backed by a state of a central bank, compared to legal tender currencies issued by a financial institution or held in cash. Cryptocurrencies is managed by a publicity searchable ledger, the blockchain. We will explain this after. That records all transactions from the beginning. Transactions are assumed to be tamper-proof and unbreakable. These assumptions are based on the intensive use of cryptography, which will itself be infalsible and inviolable. So what does mining mean and how does it work? So this is the schemes of the blockchain. It's important to understand what is the blockchain. And after, when you make a transaction, it's like, first you make a transaction in the traditional banking system. Your bank take the money from your account, send it to another bank, and deposit it into the beneficiary's account. The bank acts as a trusted third party. This is where blockchains come in. So I will try to explain this. First, someone wants to make a transaction. After this transaction is sent to the network, which is validates the transaction. If the transaction is validated, it's become a block of the blockchain. This block represents the transaction. After then, the transaction is complete. So yeah. So for the mining process, the term cryptocurrency mining appeared in 2009 when the first Bitcoin blockchain was created, and it's directly related to the gold miner. This is a paid service that involves verifying transaction of performing calculation to create new copies of the mined cryptocurrency. This work using technology that mimics the rarity of precious metals. This is why the term used to define the acquisition of this currency is mining. To do this, you need to find code made up a number and letter, which is called a hash, and in which generates the next block in the transaction chain. However, this calculation is too complex to be done by hands, so we must use computer calculation. So there is the miner. A miner of cryptocurrency actor who operate one or more nodes in order to receive financial compensation. Miners focus their server on creating new blocks. When a miner adds a new block, he received a reward that can take different forms depending on the cryptocurrencies. If the cryptocurrency is mineable, the miner receives a transaction called Coinbase. This transaction is a monetary creation for the miner. If the cryptocurrency is not mineable, there is no monetary creation and the miner does not receive this reward. It's this monetary creation that explains the use of the term mining by analogy with gold mining. So the sets of transactions selected by the miner to be part of the new block may eventually contain transaction fees. These fees are the responsibility of the miner. Anyone can technically be a cryptocurrency miner, banks, individual, you, me, never mind. Of course, the current market environment makes it not necessarily interesting for everyone to be one. It's important to understand that the system has been designed so that anyone on the planet can become a miner and contribute to the security and development of the blockchain.
So what does this have to do with graphic cards? The graphic card is an essential element of the computer. It is as essential to its operation as the motherboard or the processor. So what is the graphic card of a computer? The graphic card is what allows the display of the screen. This is directly connected to it. It also answers to lighten the load of the processor. It allows you to make video editing and 3D modeling, or to take care of the graphics of a video game. For it to work properly, updating the graphic card is essential. It avoids scintillation problems, frozen images, or more commonly, black screens. What is the function of the graphic card? The function of the graphic card is simple. It allows the display of 2D or 3D graphics on a PC screen. The production and quality of the image depend on its memory, frequency, connectivity, And the characteristic of the screen, particularly the resolution, HD or full HD, it is therefore essential to know your graphic card and its technical characteristic if you want to get the best performance. So what is the price of a graphic card? If we compare graphic cards, we can see the differences in performance between them and therefore the differences in prices. Basic prices are around 150 euros, but they quickly rise to 300 and even 600 euros. Finally, high-end and state-of-the-art models are estimated to cost between 1,000 and 2,000 euros, or even more in some exceptional cases, such as graphic card for professionals. Sorry. The main tool of miners in the graphic card, because of the scarcity of electronic currencies, the computer power needed to generate cryptocurrencies, but also the astronomical prices that have been observed for several months and which encourage to John this desire to win big. We are witnessing a kind of race where meaning professionals try to buy a maximum of graphic cards, particularly powerful to mine. Indeed, 88% of Bitcoins have already been generated. So they are increasingly rare and difficult to find. In recent weeks, Bitcoin has seen its price explode, exceeding $50,000 for one Bitcoin. This unprecedented popularity is linked to several recent announcements. Finally, some famous companies have decided to trust Bitcoin. This is the case of Tesla, which bought $1.5 billion in Bitcoin, or PayPal and MasterCard, which have confirmed the future possibility of paying in Bitcoin or with other cryptocurrencies. The increase in the price of Bitcoin has a beneficial impact on the popularity of other currencies. This is because cryptocurrencies miners have flocked to the latest graphic cards from NVIDIA, which offer ideal computing power for mining. Then miners creating mining farm and ruin the stocks of graphic cards. Normally, graphic cards are meant for video game players. So this is a huge problem in the industry because miners are eating up stocks of graphic cards that are normally intended for, not normally intended for this purpose. So what solution to solve this problem? This shortage of graphic cards and the increase in their prices is causing problems not only for the industry and thus for gamers, but it's also creating sites whose primary purpose is being hijacked for the purpose of creating cryptocurrencies. Gamers are finding it difficult to acquire a certain card model, which are being hijacked by the mining industry. This massive purchase of graphic cards therefore leads to an unavailability of the components needed to create the graphic cards. Moreover, the craze for this activity has given rise to even more astounding operations, such as sites that hide script to make the internet user processor work without his knowledge, or malicious software that spread to a larger number of computer workstation, which in fact become crypto farms. So in order to solve this problem and for the cryptocurrency industry to stop hogging all the graphic card developer first decided to create a graphic card exclusively for cryptocurrency mining. But unfortunately, these were not as powerful as the graphic cards intended for gamers. So the mining industry was not interesting and continued to buy the more powerful cards. After that, the big graphic card companies such as NVIDIA have decided to set up safeguards to avoid this situation. for the release of its next entry-level graphic cards titled GeForce RTX 3060, NVIDIA has made the decision to make technical changes to make it much less powerful if it is used to generate electronic money, but not if it is used for video games. So to conclude, what we can learn about this presentation is that Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are a very technical and sometimes complicated sector, but also profitable if you understand it and how it's work. The possible money gains that cryptocurrencies can generate are considerable for both buyers and creators. Nevertheless, if this sector can be profitable for some, it is sometimes to the detriment of other sectors. This time, it's the graphic card industry that is paying the price for the rising Bitcoin prices and is trying to find solution. However, this may lead one to wonder if in the future, the cryptocurrencies will not also cause complications for other industries. Thank you for listening.
Great. As we were talking before about Vincent trying to get evaluations from the students and grades, let's go around and hear from the class. I'd like you students that presented, can you go ahead and manage? You continue to manage the class and realize that since this is part of your term paper, also get ideas for what you can do with this information and how you can improve it to be even a better specialist. So you continue to manage the class and collect the feedback.
You want us to continue to manage the class, right?
Yes.
About the presentation we just made, what we can.
For example, maybe you don't understand what I'm saying. Since nobody has given you a grade yet, your current grade is 0.
Oh,
and you need to find out what the class is going to say. But you shouldn't worry about the grade too much. You should worry most about the problem everybody has is inside your mind is less important than what the world hears and values. So you should check what the audience can tell you could be an idea to improve.
Like ask if there is any questions, something
Absolutely.
like
not just questions, but the idea how to improve. Yes.
Okay, so guys, what do you think about the presentation?
Do you have questions or something?
I got one, but I think it's very tricky because we know everyone, we have the corona now, and with the coronavirus, for buying new stuff for computer is very complicated with the delivery. So my question is if we are, because NVIDIA got problem with delivery for a graphical card, it's oh putain. Allez. 2 seconds. I'm gonna have it. Yeah. The delivery of graphical card impacts the cost of the Bitcoin or not?
I think yes, because the most of miners use this to create Bitcoin. So I think yes. Because if there is less miner, maybe the core change. Like, I'm not sure about this, but I think.
Any other comments from the class before I start going crazy? If I talk, you don't get as much benefit as if you talk. Is that Gulcano? You wanted to say?
Question, can I ask?
Yes.
No, it's not me. What do you think about? Can you tell us more about?
We can't hear you well. Can you speak more directly into your microphone? Zarnigar is kind of
what
cutting
is
out.
Bitcoin? Can you hear me?
Not very well.
Okay. My internet is really bad.
Okay, maybe you can type down what you'd like to say and somebody else, or I can read it for you. Anybody else able to ask a good question or provide a good comment?
I just want to ask a question.
So why aren't you?
For instance, I don't understand very much what's Bitcoin and how can I how can I learn or how can I purchase something? What kind of websites or applications would you recommend me to learn?
There is a lot of YouTube video, or you can watch, and they explain very well. Like it's very kind of playful. They explain this very well, very easily on YouTube. I think it's the best way to learn, but there is a lot of website to learn, but I don't know if it's really reliable or not, but there is a lot of video, and it is very cool.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, since you've stopped sharing the screen, maybe I can help a little bit with that. With the presentation that we've had so far, this was your presentation. Everybody recalls the details. The overall price of Bitcoin now is about $59,000. And you can see in here that this is just in 1 year. 1 year ago, it was about $6,000. So it went from $6,000 up to about $60,000 in 1 year. So that's one thing to think about. You can see here that the market capital, the value of investment in Bitcoin is $1.1 trillion. How important is that? So it shows here the price and the market cap, $1.1 trillion, and it generally keeps going up. Ethereum also going up, Binance going up, and there's many things. The other day I was talking to some students about Ripple, which is XRP. There's many here. How big is this? What is the biggest currency in the world? So if we know that Bitcoin is a currency, the biggest currency in the world, top fiat currencies by market capital, is China. China, I don't know how to really say this. There's so many zeros. You guys can help me. You guys can see this on your screen, right? US dollars, I'm a little bit biased because I'm from North America. I could read this. This is $19 trillion. Many people think United States is the most powerful or the wealthiest. Well, you can see here that there's far more with the Chinese currency than the American currency, but still, with my understanding, $19 trillion is pretty good. Then you have the euro, which is 13 trillion euro. And I think approximately 1 euro is $1 US. Is that right, class? There's many people from Europe now?
A bit less.
A bit less,
Okay,
yeah.
so it's about $13 trillion versus 19 trillion with USA. Japan,
That's almost the same.
Is lower. Great Britain is lower. Korea is lower. But let's take a look here. Number 14, in all countries of the world, Bitcoin is the 14th most powerful, most valuable currency on the planet. $1.1 trillion now. And take a look at this maximum supply. What does this mean? The presenters today was saying that the price of Bitcoin was changing because of graphic cards. Is that correct? What is the best way to summarize what you're teaching the world?
You mean the graphic cards? Like, I don't understand.
Give one sentence to teach the world everything that you have found, everything that you have researched. What is your main point? That should be your abstract. So just summarize one sentence. What are you teaching the world?
Bitcoin can have an impact, a huge impact
Other industries.
Yes, on industries or on markets.
Especially the graphics cards. That seems to be the focus.
I think it can be all type of market. now is graphic card, but maybe after it will be on other things. I don't know. Like just Bitcoin can impact the market.
Okay, it may be a good idea to work on that. So when you do research for many days or weeks or months, you have a very short amount of time, for example, to interact with other executives around you. And if you only have one sentence to introduce what you're talking about, make sure you're confident about it and it's crystal clear. So every student here, when you start talking, as we said here, with an evaluation. For example, that is your abstract. That's the summary of the words. You're not saying what you're going to talk about. You're showing what you have proved with your research. So make that sentence clear. And then the introduction is talking about why do people care? Why is it important? And then you should show you are a specialist, what other researchers are saying, and then the results. So you can keep going through that. So you guys have both given presentations. What about Eloise and Laura? Can you guys summarize in one sentence what you are teaching the world with your presentation? Eloise and Laura?
Our presentation is for the beginning, just the introduction to what is exactly cryptocurrency and how does it work, and about a little bit Bitcoin. And after we would like to talk about DM, that's X Libra, and that's the cryptocurrency from Facebook. And so we would like to work about it and to see what can we find. Like, just like, is it possible that this cryptocurrency can be like very interesting, or is it a fail, or how does it work and everything?
Okay, so everybody is still new in your area. It will help you to pick one very key thing that you want to be the world expert in, the world specialist in, and teach something new. For example, what is the standing of the Facebook cryptocurrency? Most people know it as Libra, but it has changed from Libra, as you said, and now it's called the DM. So you could analyze that. Perhaps you could analyze it compared to these others, like Bitcoin is one, Ethereum is another, Tether, Cardano, Ripple, something like that. So we have those.
I think we have a point of view about if gem is very trustful instead of all cryptocurrency, because we know it's come from Facebook, and everyone know here Facebook take all your data. So gem is trust or not? I think it's a big point of view. We're gonna use it too for the presentation.
Yes, and after we want to show you a lot of cryptocurrency, not all the DM or Bitcoin, and very analyze all of this for what is the most truthfully or the best one.
So I want to ask the group, the presenter group today. So we all know that Bitcoin is based on a technology called blockchain. And have you ever know this technology is applied to any industry, and what is like the benefit of using this technology, and like what the real example that we have been benefiting from this technology? I want to know about how can we take advantage of this technology, and what's the real life example? Because we all know that Bitcoin is some guy, an anonymous guy came up with the idea of Bitcoin, and then the world just go crazy about it. And I don't think people that investing in Bitcoin, not many of them having an idea about what it is or how it can like beneficial.
I think the first benefit is safe, is unbreakable, and like inviolable. Like I think the first point is it's safe.
So other national bank, it's not safe to have your money in your national bank.
It's I don't say it's not safe, but as I say before, like in 2008 there is a huge crisis, and sometimes it happens. So if there is nowadays there is coronavirus, and we don't know what's happened. Maybe in 1 year, 2 years, it will be a big crisis.
But the same thing it also happened to Bitcoin. Like in 2020, it's crashed and it fell down to like some $1,000 or $2,000, and now it's up to $60,000, and people started saying good things about Bitcoin, and they start like buying Bitcoin, and that's why the price keeps going. But I don't know the real value of this technology or Bitcoin. Is still like so vague to me, I think.
Yes, it's good points to debate. I don't know.
Can I help maybe for answer?
Yeah, because they can have like informatic crash. They can have crisis for a bank. So it's not safe. So we don't know. It's very hard to choose.
The thing with Bitcoin is like there is no. It's not about a government or something. Bitcoin is an independent system working with people creating like mining money and buy Bitcoin. So when you buy Bitcoin, I think you're betting on the future. Nothing is certain, of course, but if you there are some experts talking about the future of Bitcoin, for example, and say Bitcoin repose on that's gonna increase, like the price of Bitcoin gonna increase if people stay and continue to use it, continue to create money, and continue to create cryptocurrencies. So it's a little bit like this. That's work like this. I don't know if I'm clear. I don't know if I answered to your question.
That the value of Bitcoin is depending on us. Like the more people use Bitcoin, the more it's valuable. But if people stop using Bitcoin, it's not valuable anymore.
I think it's valuable because we talk just about Bitcoin, but we have other cryptocurrency, and so it like say the girls with the blockchain, everyone can see what people buy or do. It's very open-minded against a bank. We can maybe everyone here have. My money is on the French bank, but I'm not. Sometimes I see the action do the people in the bank. I'm like, no, it's not good, and I don't have my full trust on the national bank. So I think sometimes maybe tomorrow or in 1 year I'm gonna use my money to buy some cryptocurrency to be my own, to be the boss of my money, if you want.
But you have to understand that the amount that you have, like the amount of Bitcoin that you have, is nothing compared to the amount of other big investor have, like Tesla or some other big guy that they have a very like a huge amount of Bitcoin, and yours is just like a tiny one. So it's like nothing, and you have like almost zero control about Bitcoin. So why do you invest money in that kind of cryptocurrency?
Okay, let me take this a little bit to help everybody. I would like everybody to prepare to get into rooms and start talking about what should you invest in, what should you check out for yourself, for your future. So the idea is to start thinking about everything we're talking about. What is Bitcoin? What is blockchain? How are they related? How does it relate to you? So decide on your own in small groups through debate. And so if I start, I would like to point out a few things we might not have clarified so far. Bitcoins may rise in value as the mining value is cut in half every 4 years. We haven't talked too much about that. The idea is that Bitcoin was it's like a class term paper. Some student basically proposed Bitcoin in a paper just like what you were doing. So when it was proposed with security to overcome trust in a system that they're saying is broken. We can talk about that later. And the answer was with blockchain. Sai, did you have a comment to add to this?
No, I think I will speak after you finish. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So the idea of Bitcoin started with a paper. You guys need to develop your own papers. And the idea of Bitcoin started obviously at 0 in 2009 when the paper started. And when the geeks and just a few early adopters started taking it on, they saw more and more of the value. And the more people that adopt it, the more it goes up. That's number one. Number two, there's a couple of other points here. So as Bitcoin is being created by people mining it, every 4 years, those miners that create it get paid less. They get paid half. So just like stocks might split, Bitcoin has the opposite. Bitcoin gets cut in half. And when it is cut in half, the value goes up. When people are paid less, there's less supply, the cost goes up. And so in 2012, it started about $11. And after it was cut in half with the mining, it went from $1,100 to $1,100. So 10,000% increase. And then in 2016, it went from $700 to $1,900. And then, yes, it did drop down a little bit, but this went up 2,800%. And in May 2020 was another one of these halvings. And it went from about $6,500 or $7,000 up to almost $60,000. And some people are saying, just based on this, if the first one went up 10,000 and the next one went up 2,800, we don't know. Nobody knows the future, but you can use mathematics. You can use research to calculate things. So if we just say this got cut down from 10 down to 3%, we can do the same sort of here and maybe go up to 1,400%. And so from 6,500 could go up to 70,000 or $98,000. And so that's an investment that I made a year ago, and it explains those details. So the first two halving events in 2012 and 2016, nobody knew about. Nobody cared. The world only knew of Bitcoin in the groups of geeks. The big bankers didn't care. So this time, so many people know about it that it's becoming mainstream. How mainstream? This idea here that it is the 14th biggest currency in the world. So every day, this value of $1.1 billion, or sorry, $1.1 trillion keeps growing. As you can see, it's growing 10.4% in the last 7 days. So if we keep looking at this, there's a few main things that are creating value to it. As it becomes famous and popular, that helps. As people get paid less to create it, that helps. Hyperinflation is another thing. The United States alone has printed, this was over $6 trillion about a year ago. And now the idea that it's just crazy. What they're talking about, normally hyperinflation comes from the money supply. And the banks are printing money to help with the coronavirus and different things. That is increasing the value of anything that's not a national currency. So many nations are printing money because you have more and more money, the value of the money goes down. So something like gold that doesn't change or Bitcoin that doesn't change goes up. That's one thing. Number two, the United States debt is, it's kind of related, but also different. The United States debt alone is going crazy. So if we talk about some of those details, this might be interesting for you guys to check. The idea of how much debt does United States have? And so it's 28 So 1,000 million billion trillion dollars, and you can see how fast it's going up. And this chart here, you might want to take a look at it. The whole idea of the dollar to gold ratio. Again, gold can't really change. But since 1913, it went from $28 per ounce to $36,000 per ounce. It continues to go up. And recently, it's been going up a lot because of the same things as Bitcoin. Next thing, the idea of, let's get over here to oil war or gold war. Because of this oil problem, everyone is investing in something that's more stable, like gold or Bitcoin. Next, unemployment has been going crazy with the coronavirus.
You say that Bitcoin is stable. Are you sure?
I'm saying it is stabilizing. I'm not saying it's stable, but as you can see here, as it's not just going up in price. Yes, in the last month or 3 months, you can see that it's going up and down. But one thing that is stabilizing, which is a fact, where is it? Here, as it's getting up to $1.1 trillion, yes, that is stabilizing. There are millionaires, but even if you put $1 million into something that has $1.1 trillion, $1 million investment doesn't make much impact. So yes, the more this market capital grows, the more that it compares to other nations, it is stabilizing. You can't have just one guy that puts in $50 million. It's not going to make a big change in price. So that's one aspect. There's a few other things, and I'll stop teaching. I want you guys to get into groups and not only evaluate these presentations, but start talking about, is it important? Should you invest? What should you invest in? So next, COVID-19. Everybody knows COVID-19 screwed everything. So next, we haven't talked about so much. Bitcoin was created with blockchain. The whole idea of Bitcoin is blockchain, and blockchain is revolutionary, just like the internet. When the internet started back 1995, nobody knew about it. People thought it's dangerous. It's going to be going up. It's going to not connect. There's going to be problems. Some people didn't invest. But the idea of having anybody being an agent, like a bank is an agent, or a government is an agent, or real estate persons are agents, all of those could be cut out of jobs when you don't need somebody in the middle to guarantee trust. Blockchain provides for trust with that details, and it's explained in that paper. So just the mathematics alone, that was saying from a year ago, every time there's halving, it's going to go up in value a lot within 16 to 18 months. And so the US printing $16 trillion, that alone, $6 trillion, that alone, a year ago, and what was it, last week, they had another $3 trillion from the United States government. That is some of the reasons why some people like Forbes is saying here that Bitcoin is probably going to go to $1 million. I'm not sure Bitcoin will go to $1 million, but I do believe it's such a core technology, it will rise. It may drop short term, but long term, I'm sure it's going to rise. So I'd like you guys to get into groups and start discussing this. We again have 15 minutes to do that. Any comments before I put you into groups?
Yeah, Professor, I will be leaving the call if it's okay. I just wanted to make a few quick observations.
Great.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, perfect. So in general, when we speak about blockchain, I think the whole spectrum of where blockchain can be implemented, there's still a lot of discussion going on. I noticed that in this course, the first class itself was something related to fake news. So we understand that Bitcoin is trying to bridge the gap in trust. So that's one of the arenas where you could simply look for an opportunity. I mean, I'm just citing an example because I managed to go through the class details. So So I think it's important for every one of us to understand the benefits of Bitcoin as opposed to traditional bank, where it's a centralized system, which is exactly what professors put up in the screen. Bitcoins are offering, or rather blockchain is offering you the luxury of a decentralized system where you not depend on one single intermediary. So, and also what could oppose the adoption of Bitcoins and factors affecting the fluctuations, taking a note from what Professor already said, which Bitcoin is more accepted, which is not, what is the future? I think these are some simple questions which could direct towards the future of Bitcoin. And I had a couple of points in the first presentation on Bitcoins and graphic cards. I think this could be used for other presentations as well. The first thing is when you make statements like 88% of Bitcoins are generated already, or the problems, type 1 and type 2, the two problems, maybe you can include a source which would, again, make the information more trustworthy. With Bitcoin and blockchain building around the element of trust, maybe you could just add some sources which would automatically increase credibility to the information. And when you say graphic cards, you can also look, maybe is there some rare earth metal which is used in high performance graphic cards? If yes, then would it give some countries an advantage, or would it stress some countries? And what happens when all the Bitcoins are mined? We notice that there are 21 million available Bitcoins, which are, I don't know, which would be mined by 2035, 2040. What happens if NVIDIA sets up another unit to sell powerful graphic cards to people who are so interested in mining? What happens after all Bitcoins are mined? Would it be useful for the other cryptocurrencies, or would it be a viable option if the incentives to mine Bitcoin is going down? So these are just some things which I took. I mean, you could just use them as feathers. As such, the presentation, I did not see anything worth pointing out or discussing exhaustively on. So this was all what I could add.
That's a good point. So everybody that's presenting, if you present early, you're going to get those points. In our evaluations, you can see here that the idea of your research, having research is good, but your presentation here doesn't show research. This is written by you with no reference, so it's just you saying something. It's your opinion. You must reference properly. If you don't reference properly, you will fail. And so every time you show a fact or a number or a quote from somebody, there should be a reference there, and there should be a reference at the end, fully explaining where you got this information online exactly. That's one thing. The other idea, when you're saying, for example, that Bitcoin causes graphic cards shortages, it's interesting because when you check, Bitcoin is created by miners, but miners, although they need a lot of computers to check the networks, I don't think they need graphic cards. So graphic cards is something a little bit different. Some people may argue. So make sure when you're saying something, you say it from somebody else. This is the reference. They say it, and I agree with it. It will protect you, making you look good. So that's a great point. Anybody else have questions before I put you into groups and you start talking about the investment either in Bitcoin or the investment in your term paper or the investment in gold or the investment of Chinese yuan? Any comments before I put you in the groups?
Yeah, I would like to know the real life application of blockchain technology in industries. Like, is there any example other than cryptocurrency?
There are millions of examples. Start researching the details. For example, stores, big stores like Walmart, they used to pay agents, for example, to buy and sell things. But now you don't need to pay an agent because you can check with blockchain who actually has some sort of product and transfer money to them only after it's verified that they have that actual contract. The blockchain, anybody that is in it is verified. So when you're trading something with these blocks online through cryptocurrencies, that product usually is verified with the blockchain. If that kind of understands, like suppliers are being reduced, real estate agents are being reduced, lawyers are being reduced, bankers' jobs are being reduced, all because of blockchain.